Hello, 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 and welcome to Couch Chats with Corey and Courtney.
Hello. Yeah.
I'm Corey.
I'm Courtney.
And today on the show, we have our really good friend, Mr. Tony San Francisco, because I can never fucking say his name right. Welcome to the show, Tony. How are you today?
I am great. How are you guys?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm glad that the sun came out today. We are recording this on Wednesday. Normally, we record this on Thursday, but we were able to get you on Wednesday night. So,
Yeah.
Where are you broadcasting from? That's something I always like to ask people.
Waldo, here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yay. Look at all
That's
your
cool.
fun action figures on the
I know.
wall.
What's
that.
behind you on that wall behind you?
There's a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures.
Yes.
Yes.
How long have you always been like an avid fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Hands down, ever since I was young. Yep.
Really?
I used to own a traveling case that would carry all the action figures in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is so cool. Which one's your favorite?
Ooh.
Oh,
Say Donatello.
Between toys?
Yeah. The first tough question of the podcast.
No.
So I always like to kind of start the show by asking, how the hell did you get to the couch today? How do you know Courtney and myself, and how did you get here today?
Well, I think I know Courtney just from the Arts Asylum, doing shows at the Arts Asylum. I actually think I probably met Courtney before that, but didn't start getting really to know her until after doing shows at the Arts Asylum. I'm friends with Corey, Regina, and Kevin, and I think that's how I got to know Courtney. And then I was in Urinetown, which was 2 years ago. Our last performance was 2 years ago today or yesterday?
Today, yeah, the
20th.
Yeah, I got my last sort of picture and, break a leg stuff on Time Hop today. So it's so crazy. Last week I shared videos every day last week of the different performances, and that was really cool to get to show everyone how cute Tony was dancing around on stage.
Baby theater Tony.
Yeah. And then we did a show together over a year ago where you got naked for me on stage.
I did. And a lot of the times it was on accident.
Yeah. We always loved it when we got a little special Tony ball that would pop out. Or it was over with. But that just kind of became a little special thing. Yeah. We were supposed to be doing a show together, kind of starting rehearsal in about 2 weeks, Cinderella.
Yeah.
But that definitely got lost to the gods of of COVID.
Unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah. So what have you been doing during this little pandemic? Here we are sort of rounding the bend at the end of this stay-at-home order. So what have you been doing for the last 40 days?
I've been one of the fortunate ones that actually my job is still letting me work. So I've been working at my Sprint store. I work for Sprint, which is now going to be T-Mobile. And we, my location, since it's a smaller location, we turned into a kind of a makeshift call center. So I've been taking customer care calls for the last month and a half. So it's been fun.
Are people being nice to you, or are they being mean to you?
More nice than hateful. Okay. But there's been a couple of them that have been kind of very angry, which I understand. It's tough for everybody. It's especially people that have lost their jobs. I really feel bad for them.
And is that like what a primary of like those phone calls are? Are people not being able to like pay their phone bills, or what are kind of the basis of those phone calls?
Probably about 95% of the phone calls are people that have lost their jobs and have not been able to pay their phone bills.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it's just wondering why their bill increased. That's about it.
Yeah. That's so fun. Have you always wanted to be in the phone business, or is that just a profession that fell on you?
That is kind of a profession that fell on me. I kind of want to do more stuff in the theater. But about a year ago when we were doing Full Monty, I had lost my job working at Frito-Lay. And then our main guy, Zach, he actually worked for Sprint and got me the interview, and that's when I got the job.
Yeah, I remember that sort of all taking place at the same time. Your character life and your real life were sort of
coexisting. It was crazy. I was not expecting that to happen, but it did, and it was a good, I mean, as bad of an experience as losing a job is, I felt like it helped me become a more rounded person and not take things for granted as much as I did.
Yeah. And we kind of got to meet you maybe way back. You sort of mentioned Regina, AKA Corey. Like, did you help her when she was running for Miss Gay Missouri at the Arts Asylum that first year? Yeah.
Yeah, I helped her out a little bit. I actually helped her out more, I think back in 2006 or 7 when she was, well, no, it was 2009 when she was first running for Miss Gay Missouri. Yeah, that's when I really got to know her. That was when I first moved to Kansas City.
Where are you from originally?
Originally from Parsons, Kansas, southeast corner of Kansas, right next to Pittsburgh.
So what the hell brought you to Kansas City?
Really, after college, I just wanted to move and get away. Kansas City was kind of the in-between of city life and small town life. Like, there's a lot of suburbs here that still give you the same small town mentality, that people are always friendly, and it's just there's so many things to do here. It just gives you a lot of things to do, so that's why I enjoy it.
Well, you were supposed to be doing some theater. Do you have any theater projects lined up after it, or are you sort of like a widow of theater right now, like all the rest of us are?
Kind of a widow of theater. I have plans to audition for things, but who knows if they're still going to be happening. I don't know.
Like, can you believe what it's like right now to try to like plan to even go see a show, let alone audition?
It's ridiculous. I can't believe it. Everything's closing down left and right. Things are trying to reopen. Who knows what's going to happen? You can't really figure out anything with how the disease is progressing.
Right. So, how do you feel about the stay-at-home order sort of lifted, and now people are going to be told that they can go back out and try to be part of society?
I have a little bit of a mixed feeling about it. I'm excited to actually be able to see people more often. The thing is I feel like that what people in general need to realize is that we still need to be careful with what we're doing and stay protected. It's just to get the economy up and going, not for everybody's social aspect.
Yeah.
I feel like people just still need to be careful with what they're doing.
I agree. How do you feel about that, Courtney? Like,
it's an interesting, I mean, I think we're on week 8 of quarantine at our house. And I have a lot of anxiety about going back into, like, there's a lot of like, oh my God, because the thing is that we're still going to have to maintain so much social distance that it doesn't, like, it's not like I can run out and hug people, which is what I want to do. Like, if it was like, tomorrow you can go hug all your people, I'd be like, yes, I'm on board. But it's really, I start having like the idea of like standing at the Arts Asylum and like having the public come in is like a panic attack that I can't even really, I'm just like, no, get out, what are you doing?
The idea of theater doors opening and all 300 people.
Yeah, a lot. But like general basic things, like I really, really want a donut and a coffee that I have not made really badly. And so I think I'll probably do that, but it'll still be like in a drive-thru. Which I could have been doing this whole time, but I haven't. So, there's that.
I just look forward to going inside of a Chipotle and being like, can I have a little more cheese? Instead of just being like, whatever, I'll take. But they never get it 100%, right?
Yeah.
And that's 8 weeks of Chipotle. Do you hear that, Chipotle?
Right.
8 weeks of me like trying to get my right meal. And so I'm coming for you first, probably.
Yeah.
You've also been busy doing something else, Miss Courtney. I hear you've been flying around some neighborhoods too.
We have. We did a really weird thing. It was, as I touted it, the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, and we're getting ready to do it again. Isabel had a birthday parade for her friend, and it was like a costume theme. Like they were like, hey, everybody come dressed, and there's going to be, prizes and whatever. And so she worked all week at like, oh, do I want to go as this or that or whatever. And then finally the parade was at like noon on Saturday. About 6 p.m. on Friday night, she was like, I've decided I want to be Elphaba and I need you to make me fly. and so we did. Because what else were we doing? Nothing. So, you know, a little less than 12 hours, and we were supposed to be asleep for 8 of them. Which ironically we did get. I mean, we were able to go, and that's something that is in Alex's wheelhouse, flying people. So,
like,
so yeah, then I was like, well, if we're doing all of this, and she was like, what? And I was like, well, are we really just going to have one person see it? And she was like, no, we need to go to everybody's house. So then all of the neighborhoods around Kansas City got a giant 22-foot box truck with a small child out the back and a very loud music to try and cover the generator noise.
I ran into Katie Carl, who said that she heard it in our neighborhood, and she was like, I knew that was probably heading towards your house.
Yeah, because that was the thing. We didn't warn anybody. Like, because we didn't really know how it was going to go, I just like texted and was like, hey, I know everybody's home. What are you doing? Can you step outside? And it was, I mean, I think I texted you, Corey. I was like, incoming, you'll hear us.
That's all I got.
I promise.
I heard you before I saw you. Yeah. Let me just tell you that. I heard you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also, all 3 of us, in theory, participated in the AIDS Walk 2020 virtual walk this last Saturday. So thank you, Tony, for giving your little walk on your lunch break. My dad definitely liked watching you walk. You know, he, I know. He just.
I love your parents. They're amazing people.
My parents are amazing people. And I believe we now have Meemaw watching these. So,
hey.
So shout out to Meemaw too. I talked to her, I think last week or whatever, and she goes, I've been watching your couch chats. And I was like, oh no.
What have we said?
I love you, Mima. But yeah, so that was really cool. So thanks for doing that. I think that they raised a good amount of money this year, even doing a virtual. Yeah. And it was a beautiful day on Saturday too. I don't know if any of you guys got to watch it live, but that was really fun.
I said something about your dad and mom when I was putting together all the video stuff, and I said Scott and Pam, and Isabel was like, who the hell is Scott? And I was like, oh, Sparky, I'm sorry. She was like, yes, he's got a name and Scott is not it. I was like, well, ironically, Scott is not it, but I'm not going to drop his real name either.
His real name is James, everyone. So
exactly.
He doesn't know, who he is until he hears his name pronounced, right? Just like actor. Yeah, what shirt do you have on there, Tony? What are we promoting?
I have on my Ravenclaw shirt.
A fellow Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many of those tests have you taken over the years?
Too many to count. Too many to count.
Yeah.
I love the one where it shows you like percent by percent, like how you like which house you fall into.
Yeah.
So you can be like, ooh, I'm kind of a Slytherin too.
No matter what I do, I'm always a Ravenclaw.
Same here, Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff.
Always Gryffindor with like a 40% Slytherin. Like all of the rest are like, you don't exist at all. And I'm like, I am Harry fucking Potter. Let me tell you. The sorting hat takes into consideration what you want. Don't forget that. I have on The Shining, for my isolation kind of thing.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. I believe it says Red Drum on the back. So
it does. Beautiful.
So, murder.
I told my kids that they should definitely be the little girls from The Shining for Halloween, assuming we get a Halloween, which anybody who's listening that is not going to make that possible for me, looking at you, any one of you reopened Missouri people, I will set the whole world on fire if I don't get Halloween this year. So work on that, please. Be safe so that we can all celebrate the greatest of the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about this yesterday. Matt and I were in a happy hour. Like, what do we even think like the holidays will look like? As we move forward, are we all going to like run back to our families, or is like just some little strand of sickness going to scare us all back into our houses? Have you thought about that at all, Tony? Have you just like,
so I kind of saw a little bit of that over Easter, just because a lot of my friends had plans that were going to go home for Easter and they weren't able to, and it's just kind of weird having their families drop meals off at their house or kind of video conference just over meal. I don't think I can fathom what it would be not to have a Christmas or a Halloween without my family in person.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I can't think of it.
Yeah.
I was sort of saying, you know, that we got away with like the St. Patrick's Day. That's not that big of one, you know. And even like in some way, no offense, but like the Mother's Day is really kind of like the first one that's going to be kind of weird. But we have not done a 4th of July or like, you know, any of those Memorial Day, any of those big holidays yet where we're not allowed to hang out with each other. So I hope people do what they're supposed to do so we don't start messing with, with the big ones at the end of the year. Right. It's going to be really interesting to see what it's like to go back into the real world this year. Yeah. So we get to start the question and answers portion of the quiz today. I know. So my first question for you, Mr. Tony San Francisco, is what is your definition of real magic?
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, he's deep.
I can watch that brain working because you buzzed your head.
That is very true.
Are you going to keep it like that? Screw my question for a second. Are you going to keep your hair buzzed like that?
I'm really loving it. I think I'll grow it back out if there's a role that I want to do that requires hair. Right. But I love it this way.
I love it too. Yeah. I love your beard right there with your little cute cheeks and like your head. I dig it. I'm so proud of you for just doing that and living your life. All right. So what the hell is magic to you?
That's a really hard question to answer. So anything that I feel like that happens without a cause. Honestly, an example would be me meeting you and all the friends that I've met throughout the past couple of years. I feel like that's kind of real magic. It's kind of very serendipitous is how I would put it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely am a firm believer that every single person that comes into your life does change the trajectory of it for the rest, you know, because I met you and like my life changed, you know, I mean, you're literally sharing a cabin with me at Jessica and Nick's, you know, honeymoon retreat. Like we are cabin fever, you know.
Yes, we are.
And I never would have like had you in that capacity if it wasn't for something magical like that happening. So yeah, cool. Miss Perry.
All right, you are a new addition to the crayon box. What color are you and why?
He's like, no, this one's the toughest one. Yeah.
Oh, I think I would be green, but trying to think of a name that would go with it.
See, it's good though because it's a personality test, so it's not always as easy as it seems.
I would say sub-intensity green.
Okay. Sub-intensity green. Yeah, you are subtly, you know. Yeah. No, I don't know. Okay. Like also aliens. Like we've got aliens. Right. Like we're all okay with that just happening over the weekend and that not being the most serious.
Who would have known that they would have released footage?
Right.
And the people, like how shocked the people who are like, I've been doing this my whole life, and like the audio in them, where I'm just like, there's a whole fleet of them, and you've never seen anything like this? Naval aviator, sir? Okay. Well, I guess that's just not even news anymore.
Bottom line news. No one even talks about it. No one even shared it. No, like everyone was just like,
yeah. And I still had my money on zombies. I was like, that's what's coming next. We had the whole world's on fire in January. We got a pandemic of like epic proportions. hey, people, why don't you inject some sunlight and bleach while you're at it? And now it's time for the alien takeover. Like, it's just, no, that's nonsense.
And yet, that's real. You know,
Right.
as I said, though, the aliens flew by and they were like, nah, we're good. People are getting ready to elect Donald Trump. There's no fucking way that we're in the right place. Anyway, back to serious. What is something you were told you could never do or do well that you have done or are in the process of accomplishing?
One of the things that it was back in middle school. I had a teacher that actually told me I was not good enough to perform. And because I was really shy at that age, and it kind of drove me to get out of my shell, really. So I don't really think badly of the teacher saying that, because it kind of opened my mind about trying to figure out what I needed to do and how I needed to act, and just the everyday life of talking to people. So it's something that's forever changed what I thought internally.
That's awesome. Well, to counter that, do you have someone that, I'm doing a sub question, question B. Do you have someone in your life who has motivated you the other way, that has made you feel the opposite of what that teacher, did?
Multiple, for the good. My high school choir director, he forced me to perform left and right. That's what actually got me to go to K-State. My voice director at K-State, he helped me out a lot. And just actually of one of the people, just from being able to be in one of your shows, and you enforce, not try to toot your horn, but you enforce a lot of self-worth in a lot of your actors. So it really helps out.
Well, I don't hire anyone who doesn't deserve to be seen. No, I'm not even saying anything. I love weirdos, and so the weirder you are, the more fun we get to have. Thank you, Tony. I love you, and you did win a Barney, so I guess.
I mean, it's right here.
Right there.
It's right here.
Mm-hmm. Like a good influencer, your hand behind it and everything.
Yeah, right here. And that, I was talking to my dad, and I was like, I would really love to put up some videos of full Monty, but the amount of times that you guys have pants on is not very much in that show. So it's really kind of difficult to find a good video where at some point
somebody's not taking off their clothes.
Naked. Michael Jordan's basketball is about all I have for you guys. So
the lights were so excellent too. They also won a Barney.
They did twice.
I don't have Alex's sitting right here though. It's on his desk.
In a minute, my husband's going to come out and show what it is. So all of a sudden, I don't have one. I will one day. Damn it!
You will.
I will. Miss Perry, your question?
All right, I'm gonna switch it up this week. If you could travel back 100 years in the past or go 100 years in the future, which would you choose?
100 years in the past, hands down. I'm a huge fan of the Roaring '20s. 1920 is my era. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and now you get to live it right now, right?
Right. Right.
That's right.
Okay, Mr. Tony. This is kind of a fun, weird question. What is a piece of advice that you would give yourself today? Not something that you would have done a year ago, or you don't want to talk to your future self, but you woke up this morning. What do you say to yourself?
Even though that the world is going through some crazy shit right now, just keep your head up high. Keep your eye on the future and just keep driving yourself to do the best that you can do right now.
What's the best thing you can do right now for yourself?
For myself and others, just motivating myself and other people throughout the day. Talking to people on the phone, and even my coworkers, a lot of people are down right now. So it's just trying to make somebody else's day better for themselves, which kind of makes my day feel better as well.
You have roommates, right? That you live
I
with?
do.
Yeah.
I do.
And I think that well, I mean, but that's also a conversation that we've had in different ways of, you know, what it would be like to be all by yourself, like living only by yourself right now. You know, over the last 40 days, I would have gone kooky. Like,
I wouldn't have been able to do it. I could not have done it without my roommates. No.
Yeah. Like, I feel so fortunate to have, you know, a quarantine playmate, you know, whenever I can. And he even still goes to work, but at least you know, it wasn't a full ever 24 hours. Yeah. So that's fun. Miss Perry?
Agreed. All right. You are invisible for 24 hours. What do you do with your time?
You can do whatever you want.
Ooh. I'm not sure if that's appropriate for this podcast.
It is.
Honestly, I would probably just be naked the entire day. And I would love to just play around with people, just make them think that something supernatural is happening and just like move something just an inch just so they notice it and they freak out. That would be hilarious.
Yeah. Courtney, do you feel like your answer has changed at all since sort of like we started this?
No, because I really still want to do that every time. And now especially, I would like to do it. Like I would like to be 24 hours invisible right now so that I could go in, because I want to go into like the Smithsonian and touch all the art. But like not in a, you know, like messed up way. Like I would have on gloves so that it was like, I don't want to destroy anything. I just want to get like up on it, because you can't do that right now, and like be able to like look at the intricacies of, you know, ancient jewelry and stuff like that. And now there would be no crowds or anything. Like I could just have free reign. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be really good for me.
I think it would be really good. All right, Mr. Tony, San Francisco. Our next sort of question that I have for you is, if you could change your life and go and be any other profession or do whatever you wanted to, what would that be?
I would love to be a professional opera singer. That was...
You should sing for us right now. No.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That was my passion in college, was to perform professional opera. That was one of the main reasons I moved to Kansas City, apart from just the hometown feel, just trying to get my name out there. And I feel like I had a big change in my life couple years into it, which kind of stopped me from doing that, and I had to rearrange everything. So that's always been on like the back burner. That's something that I've always been passionate about, and that's something that
Who's asked do I have to pick? Who was mean to you? I feel like someone was mean to you. Why aren't you an opera singer?
No, nobody was mean. I had my grandfather passed away probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So it was about 2 years after I moved here to Kansas City originally. And so that kind of pulled me back to my hometown just so I could be closer to my grandparents and my parents, just to make sure everything was okay and everything was going all right.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Yep.
Miss Perry, our last and final question.
Well, you stole my question.
Sorry.
That's okay. What's the last gift you received?
The last,
besides my love and support every day.
And this podcast.
Apart from love and support every day, the last gift, the one that I love the most, is from my mom and my dad for Christmas. They gave me a onesie. Yeah. It's like a utility onesie. Like, it's very heavy duty. The zippers are heavy duty. You can wear it out. It looks like a hoodie and sweatpants, but it's all one piece.
Yeah. Why don't you have that on? So for our podcast,
I know.
Well, cool. Well, my last kind of two questions that I have are for everyone. Is there anything that you did not have an opportunity to say? Any words of advice? Anything that you want to promote? Any facts about you that nobody knows that you want to share? I would love to hear them, and this is kind of your opportunity to give a shout out to your world if you want to. So,
something that I would like to just let everybody know is just keep doing you. Don't let the current political climate turn you down. Just keep being positive, go day by day, and live your life. Yeah. That's what I live by every day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Everyone that talks about you in my life talks about how much joy you bring to their existence. So you should know that I think that you succeed in your goals of just being fucking Tony for everyone who needs to, you know. I mean, I feel very lucky, and I can speak for probably a good amount of people that feel very lucky to have you in their life. So thank you for being who you are, you know, for all of us to love. And my last question is, who would you like to hear from on the couch? Who is someone that you think I want to listen 35 minutes in the bedroom with right now? That sounds weird. He's like, no one. I hate everyone.
They're all horrible people. No. Well, honestly, I think a lot of the people that you've recently had on are people that I would want to listen to.
She's like, no one. I don't want to hear anything. It's a hard question because not only does it make you have to guess who hasn't been on the show, you try to pick like one person and you don't want to like offend anyone, right?
Somebody that I feel like that would be very personable and be able like to really stir things up. Anne Haynes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She's amazing.
I'll make her sing. I'll just make her sing for the whole 35 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, thank you so much, Tony, for being on the show. We need to take our selfie really quick.
We need to take our picture. Hold on, I gotta figure out. One of these days, I'm gonna just remember what buttons I have to push to do that.
This episode is brought to you by grapefruit from Sprouts, sparkling water.
Hey.
Maybe they'll want to promote us sponsor us one day.
Who knows? All right, you ready? All right. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Tony. Your face is so good for all of us.
Thank you, guys.
Tune in next week where I believe we will have on Riley, Courtney's daughter, again, to kind of talk to us about what it's like to not have a prom or a graduation and kind of what it's like to go into her first year of college without really knowing what the hell, you know, is going to happen. And then following that, our goal is to have Julie Ewing on the show. So make sure that you stay tuned for the next 2 weeks to our new virtual couch chats. All right. All right. We will see you all next week. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.